Mark Kullberg, and my rank was FTG2 E5. We did a couple of shakedown cruises and stuff. Yeah, that was pretty, that was pretty amazing to go out through the harbor, because it was a big deal. I mean, all the families and in Long Beach, with you could go out like a little peninsula, I think it was there, and everything. So it was always very pomp and circumstance with New Jersey. That was Reagan's baby, and it was. Let's just say other ships and other guys that were on destroyer, when it was definitely a difference, because we had to be squared away. They did not. The crew, had to be squared away. Our captain was adamant about, but at the same time, when we went out, it was amazing, to go out, and then especially to start doing our gunfire, with the 16-inch guns and stuff like that. It was pretty crazy. Since I was a radar operator up in the director, I actually was able. I was up on the, I think it was the 5th level. So I was literally looking down on the 16-inch guns. So I got to see the full effect, and I actually saw. I remember we shot one time. I think we did a full broadside, and I believe, if I remember right, the shells had been loaded up with different colors, and I just remember when because we fired to where you could actually see the splash. Because normally, it's over the horizon, you may not be able to see it, but I just remember seeing the columns of water go up. And the other ships that were around us in that, they were doing 5-inch 54s, that type of thing, and it was like, okay, time for us to fire. And it was like, holy cow. Now that's a gun. That's a gun. So, pretty crazy. And the concussion and all that stuff, it was pretty crazy. And especially when we first started firing, because I was in the radar. As a radar operator, I was in this basically a little box, like a little house. There's 4 of us in this director. 3 guys in front of me, in the back, a radar operator. And I just remember when we first shot, all the dust that accumulated over the years. It was like, it just, everything, you couldn't see, because all that dust got raised, but the concussion was just unbelievable. And the interesting thing, you can actually see the bullet come out of the muzzle, because it is, before it hits the velocity, you can actually see you can actually see that thing leaving. So yeah, it was pretty wild. I just popped in my mind. And actually, on the way to San Francisco, I believe, is when we actually we shot a harpoon, and then we shot a tomahawk. So the tomahawk was fired off the coast of Northern California, and that tomahawk actually traveled all the way to the Tonopah Test Range in Nevada. So I guarantee it flew over quite a few people that didn't have any clue that it flew over. But back in those days, we did have phones and with cameras. So when we fired the harpoon, I just happened to be up in the Sky 3 radar, and I had one of those little Instamatic, so I was taking pictures. So I actually caught it as it was coming out of the canister, type of thing. But very interesting. We shot the tomahawk too, because it was a very windy day. And what happens is we have to get to the point where they can fire, and then I think there was F-14s that flew over, and then they were basically chasing. They probably had a destruct capability on it, but everything had to be perfect. But I remember when that thing took off the ship, and if you ever seen a harp or a tomahawk take off, it gets blown out of the canister, but it's got to reach a certain velocity before the ramjet can kick in. So it kind of did like this, and I'm like, oh crap, it's coming back for us, and the ram kicked in, and away she went. So pretty cool. Just like the failing system, we had the CWIS, which is a close-in weapon system. Back in those days, I mean, I was kind of envious of those guys a little bit, because I mean they had the state-of-the-art technology, So, but, you know, but then again, I mean, everybody's got their role, right? There was only a few of those guys, so interesting enough, when we used to have to do working parties to, well, to get ammo and things like that on board, the FTs supported the FTMs by hauling up all the boxes of ammo for the failing system. So we had to go up, you know, 6, 7 decks, you know, carrying these, you know, boxes of uranium-tipped, you know, ammo for the failing system so they could load them up. But if you've ever seen a phalanx or a CWIS fire, a Vulcan gun, it is pretty amazing. 3,000 rounds per second type of stuff, you know, or 3,000 rounds per minute. It is pretty